A woman walked into Judge Judy's courtroom demanding nearly $5,000 back from a man she once trusted. By the time the case was over, Judge Judy had ripped apart both of their stories, exposing lies, bad decisions, and a relationship neither one wanted to fully admit existed. The case started with Judge Judy questioning the plaintiff, Ms. Williams, a retail manager and single mother raising her 11-year-old son alone. Then she turned to the defendant, Richard Reap. Richard explained that he worked as a sales associate and lived with his wife and 3 young children, ages 7, 5, and 2. That detail immediately caught Judge Judy's attention, because Ms. Williams wasn't suing an ex-boyfriend. She was suing a married man. Judge Judy asked Richard how he met Ms. Williams, and he casually explained they worked together. Simple enough. But then things got awkward. Judge Judy asked him directly whether he had started a relationship with Ms. Williams. Without hesitation, Richard said no. According to him, they were just friends and co-workers. But Judge Judy wasn't buying it for 1 second, because normal co-workers don't usually hand each other thousands of dollars. So she pressed harder. If they were only friends, why was Ms. Williams giving him money? Richard suddenly became vague. He claimed he didn't remember specific amounts or dates. He stumbled through answers, trying to avoid saying anything concrete. That only irritated Judge Judy more. She pointed out that he clearly remembered the ages of all 3 of his children, yet somehow couldn't remember how much money he accepted from another woman. Then she asked the obvious question, why would a grown married man with children accept money from a female co-worker in the first place? Richard tried to play it off as friendship, but Judge Judy kept digging. Had he been to her house? Yes. How many times? A couple. What did they do there? Nothing major. Judge Judy could already tell he was hiding something. Finally, she turned to Ms. Williams and asked the question directly. Did they have an intimate relationship? Ms. Williams admitted they did. And just like that, Richard's entire story began collapsing in real time. Judge Judy immediately called him out for pretending they were just innocent co-workers. Then the focus shifted to the money. Ms. Williams claimed she had given Richard a total of $4,800 over several months because he constantly came to her with financial problems. According to her, Richard told her he was separated from his wife and temporarily living with his sister. He also claimed his car had broken down, making it difficult to get to work and support his children. Feeling sorry for him, Ms. Williams stepped in to help. The first major payment was $2,000 for a down payment on a vehicle. She explained that Richard said having reliable transportation would allow him to work more hours and better provide for his kids. Judge Judy listened carefully but looked deeply skeptical. Because in her mind, the story made no financial sense. Richard was earning around $9 an hour while supporting 3 small children. Judge Judy bluntly pointed out there was almost no realistic way he could ever repay thousands of dollars. Still, Ms. Williams continued explaining. Later, after she left the company where they met, Richard contacted her again, claiming his work hours had been reduced to only 1 day a week. Now behind on bills and car payments, he allegedly begged for more help. So she gave him another $500. Judge Judy looked stunned. Not because of Richard's behavior, but because Ms. Williams kept giving him money despite every red flag imaginable. Then came the twist that changed the entire courtroom. Ms. Williams admitted that before giving him the additional $1,500, she discovered Richard had lied. He was not separated from his wife. He was still living with her the entire time. The audience reacted immediately. Judge Judy practically exploded. She couldn't believe Ms. Williams found out he had lied about his marriage, lied about where he lived, and still continued handing him money afterward. Judge Judy sarcastically summarized the situation perfectly. So you found out he was a lying cheat and then gave him another $2,500? Ms. Williams admitted yes. At that point, Judge Judy made it clear she had very little sympathy left. She repeatedly reminded Ms. Williams that she was a single mother and should have been protecting her own finances instead of funding a grown married man's problems. But the most devastating moment for Richard was still coming. Earlier in the hearing, Richard had tried denying almost everything about the relationship. He acted unsure, confused, and evasive whenever Judge Judy asked direct questions. That's when Judge Judy pulled out a written statement Richard himself had signed before appearing in court, and it completely contradicted everything he had just said. Judge Judy began reading it aloud. In the statement, Richard admitted Ms. Williams had always given him money and claimed she refused to take no for an answer. He also admitted they had started seeing each other, something he had just denied moments earlier in court. Then came the line that sent the courtroom into laughter. She said because I was her man, she wanted to make sure I was set up. Richard looked trapped. Judge Judy stared at him in disbelief, while the audience laughed at how badly he had exposed himself. When she asked if he remembered signing the statement, Richard awkwardly tried to minimize it by calling it a quick, rough draft. That excuse only made things worse. Judge Judy mocked the idea that such detailed admissions could somehow be meaningless notes. At that point, Richard's credibility was completely destroyed. But surprisingly, that didn't mean Ms. Williams was going to win the case. Judge Judy explained that despite Richard clearly misleading her, the money still appeared more like gifts given during a romantic relationship rather than formal loans. There was no written repayment agreement, no contract, no clear proof that Richard legally promised repayment. And most importantly, Judge Judy believed Ms. Williams knew deep down that Richard was financially incapable of paying her back anyway, especially after learning he was still living with his wife and supporting 3 children on a tiny paycheck. By the end of the hearing, Judge Judy had heard enough. She dismissed the case entirely. Neither side got the outcome they wanted. Richard walked away looking dishonest and manipulative. Ms. Williams walked away without her money, and Judge Judy made it clear both of them had exercised terrible judgment from the very beginning. As the episode ended, the two continued arguing outside the courtroom. Ms. Williams insisted she had only tried to help him and expected him to keep his word. Meanwhile, Richard claimed she had been trying to buy into him. But after everything revealed during the case, one thing was obvious. What started as a workplace friendship had spiraled into a messy emotional and financial disaster, and Judge Judy wasn't willing to reward either one of them for it.